Now, the making of a good compilation tape is a very subtle art, many do's and don'ts.
Let's make a playlist.
First of all, you're using someone else's poetry to express how you feel. This is a delicate thing.
Let's make a playlist.
You gotta kick it off with a killer to grab attention. Then you gotta take it up a notch. But you don't want to blow your wad, so then you gotta cool it off a notch. There are a lot of rules.
No rules here. This is Let's Make a Playlist with Jonathan Howe. Hey everybody, it's Jonathan back for another edition of Let's Make a Playlist. It's been a bit of a crazy time in my life, so apologies for the lack of episode last week. I got sick after getting back from my honeymoon. It all kind of worked out though, because this week's guest, Kirk Danuco from Medium Baby Niagara, he's a promoter of shows, he's a musician himself, and he just recently, with Medium Baby, booked one of the best festivals going for round two. Vertigo Music Festival happening at Isaac's Bar at Brock University. The Dirty Nil are headlining. Minuscule, Cam Kaheen on the bill as well. Dear God, a band that I love. A band that I recently just saw, Sunshine Express, also on the bill. They were killer. That was super cool. Sunshine Express, actually, they were just out on tour with our previous guests, Days on Parade, and I think they're also going to be lined up for an episode coming down the line for Let's Make a Playlist. But this one was a lot of fun to do with Kirk. It felt good to get back to it. I had a lot of fun. I recorded this back in the summertime, so there's some things we talk about in terms of dates of shows, and we talk about the fact that my EP hadn't come out yet, but it was on the way out with Green White Checkered. And you know what? The other thing too about Kirk, he's actually putting on a show that I'm playing tomorrow as of recording this. This episode should be out Friday, but tomorrow is Saturday. It is November the 9th, and I am playing with Green White Checkered at the Warehouse in St. Catharines, opening up for Neon Cowboy, Cazador, and Luna Pier on the bill as well for that one. So come and see us if you have a chance to listen to this episode. Come support Medium Baby and everything that Kirk is doing, booking shows in and around Niagara. And if you're not in and around Niagara, just maybe check out some of the local talent and some of the local shows, and maybe your new favorite band may just be on a Medium Baby bill, or on one of the playlists that they put together with the Discover Niagara playlist as well that Medium Baby puts together. So really cool episode, a lot of fun. Let's get to it now with Kirk Danuco on Let's Make a Playlist. All right, this week's edition of Let's Make a Playlist, I've got Kirk Danuco on the podcast of Medium Baby, and I believe, have you launched your own musical projects now too as well, Kirk?
Yeah, I as everybody does during COVID, I did release a song during, I think it was 2021, technically I released it, but yeah, I started it in like 2020, but I wrote it back in like 2016 or something.
Nice.
So call it long time coming.
Yeah, I feel you there. A lot of the songs that I'm putting out are coming up that are should be out actually by the time this episode airs, I think. But a lot of the music that I've been putting out is like songs that started back in high school and that are just either just getting finished or just getting recorded. So I feel you on that one. But welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me. You're a unique guest in the sense that as much as you are an artist yourself, you're also heavily involved in the music scene from a promotion side of things. So talk to me a little bit about what is Medium Baby.
Yeah. So I mean, the elevator pitch is that Medium Baby is a show promotion company. Outside of the elevator pitch, so it started with me wanting to play music. So like you said, I was a musician. I wanted to play some shows. The Dwindle Boys brought me to a house show, and I realized, damn, this is a lot of fucking work. Am I allowed to cuss? Is that?
Yeah,
is that
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
No worries.
Yeah, and I was like, this is a lot of work, and not to say that like I don't love the art and the craft of like playing live shows, but I realized that like so I'm a data analyst, or I used to be a data analyst in a previous life. So like data and like numbers, spreadsheets, I love that shit. That is my thing, and so I realized like that could be where I add value to the music scene as a whole. And then I got into playlist making, and then yada yada yada. Wanted to do more, call it connecting the music scene, until I found the word show promoter. So I was like setting up shows, connecting people. I was like, oh, how do I do this? And like, what does that mean? And then I realized that like, oh yeah, show promoter is a word. That's a term. Because I just called myself like, I don't know what the hell I called myself. It was just functionally like an art collective sort of thing.
You're just the
Um,
guy in the scene.
I'm just a dude. Yeah, I'm just a dude being a guy. But then it turned into like, yeah, there's a word for this. Like Eric, like indoor shoes, is a show promoter. I'm like, yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to do with more of focus on connecting artists and building longevity within the scene independent of just the shows that are happening, I
I love
guess.
that motto and I love that approach to it too, because I'm kind of feeling the same way. Like I kind of had the path of being involved in music when I was in high school, which was now 15, give or take, years ago,
Yeah, right.
whatever, 15 to 12 years ago. And when I was in a band in high school, I felt like we were on an island. Like I didn't feel connected to my community. I didn't know
Right.
who to reach out to book shows. I had a couple
Yeah.
people who were involved in like production and stuff. So we got
Yeah.
to like record some things here and there and learn about
Yeah.
that side of it. But the actual putting on of shows, it is a lot of work and it is very hard, like you mentioned. And that connection, I feel like the more we're all connected in the scene, the better off we're all going to be in terms of
Yeah.
actually being able to put on more shows and get to the point of having some really awesome shows, which Medium Baby is putting on all kinds of awesome shows. I really love some of the stuff that you're doing in terms of the shows themselves. I also really love the Discover Niagara Artists playlist. This podcast is called Let's Make a Playlist. We're going to make a
Right.
playlist a little later on in the episode, but you're obviously no stranger to putting some tracks together. Talk to us about the Discover Niagara Artists playlist, where people can find it, and how you go about selecting it. I know you mentioned kind of, I saw your Instagram post. It was like, oh, I have such a hard time each month keeping track of all these artists and who's putting out what. And
Yeah.
it's so true, because I think there was like 50 tracks on August's release.
So I tried to do 45. So I picked that number sort of arbitrarily because it looks pretty in the post.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's 15, 15, 15. I'm like, that's like, good number. But so when I started this, so I guess like going back, when I started this, like I said, I wanted to do it from the perspective of like connecting the music scene. And honestly, I just wanted to figure out what the hell was happening after COVID. I'm like, okay, my favorite bands from the area all died. Fat Moth was one of my favorite bands when I was here in the area, because I moved to Toronto, came back, everything was dead. Rest in peace. And I was like, okay, so who is playing? I don't understand the music scene quite as well. So anytime somebody mentioned an artist to me, I would just write them down in this. I just add them to this like giant playlist. But then it got unmanageable. There was like 100 and something artists, and I was like, I can't listen to this fucking thing every day. So like I said, I'm a programmer by nature. So what I did was I took to put it simply, I built a spreadsheet of all the artists and took their Spotify links, and I just run a program, and every month I pick from those art, like it'll generate a new list for me, and I look at that and I go, which of these songs should I put in the playlist this week or this month, I guess, in our case. But how do I go about picking it? So I basically pick like who has new releases is like the top priority, recommendations, and then if I can't figure out anything else, then I use the script that I built to give me suggestions to go through. So like I do use the script. Like obviously there's like programming and stuff involved. That doesn't mean that I'm just like taking that and dropping it straight in. I am like combing through the options that my program is giving me and going like, okay, these are actually good. I should put these in. This fits the vibe. This fits like the order or whatever.
I'm glad you mentioned the order, because I was going to ask that. Do you consciously think about the order, and do you put that effort in? I know obviously you mentioned you have the script, so
Yeah.
it would be easy to just plug and play like, oh, this was the 33rd song suggested, I'll just throw it at 33. But
Yeah.
do you kind of make it all flow together as best you can?
So when I started, I was a lot more conscious of the actual order of things. Now I usually just press play. So like as a listener, I do put on the playlist and I'm just like, what's new in the Niagara scene? So I just press it and I'm like, oh, I remember this song. Stuck in Neutral put this out back in like November or whatever. I'm like, I love this song and I'm glad that it's back in the playlist. So to put it simply, yes and no. I think some of it is just whenever somebody suggests a song, I just drop it in. But the new releases that I know are new releases, not just like accidentally dropped in by the playlist that I didn't notice was a new release, I make sure to put at the top so that they get the most recognition.
Nice.
But otherwise, or well, I guess the other thing that I also do is if I have a show with an artist that's coming up. So like Lily is this month's
Yep.
cover artist, and that's because she has a show coming up on August 29th with Medium Baby at Dive Pub, and I figured it would make more sense to put up the local artist that I am representing as the cover photo. So it's like a little bit of additional promotion, but also it's like this is like she's still the focus is like the music, and it's just call it tangential that there is a show coming up type thing.
Cool. I really I love all of this. I love everything you're saying because it's the stuff that I wish existed about the scene forever. Like I kind of did the same thing where I moved to Toronto and took music school for 2 years.
Yeah.
And while I was there, I was going to shows all the time. I was going to see at that point, Pup were in their infancy, the Dirty Nil were in their infancy.
Yeah,
Bands like Pew Pew Pew, the OBGMs, Bad Waitress, like Always. I remember seeing Always with Pup at a free show in the Toronto Public Library.
Yeah.
And
sick.
it was like back in 2014, maybe something like that. It was so cool. And like nobody knew who this Always band was. Pup was just starting to get big. And now I feel like Niagara is in this position where we can really start to have that same cultural movement. And it's so unique in the sense because, well, Toronto is this one, there's the 6 boroughs of Toronto, but it's all this one big Toronto scene. Niagara has its own cities and its own unique flavor in terms of venue, in terms of the bands that come out of that. How would you compare different spots in Niagara? Are you starting to notice any kind of, it's like, they used to say like Welland was Rose City hardcore forever. And it's like, that's where all the hardcore bands was. Now I feel like a hardcore band can pop up anywhere in Niagara.
Yeah. I mean, like are you familiar with Mount Vile? They're another promoter in the area. Yeah. They, first of all, Logan, an absolute champ. First of all, like he does great work. I love what he does. And what he's doing for the local hardcore community is like very like hyper specific and important to have more promoters in the area. Like I definitely, I think this is a little bit of a tangent, but I think there's some people that assume that like I want to be the only game in town, and that doesn't make any sense, right? No. Like I think the rising tide raises all ships. The more people that are out there promoting music, the better it is for me, the better it is for you, the better it is for consumers and musicians and yada yada yada. But to get back to your question, which was
I guess the regional
the regional differences between the music, right? The musical differences regionally. I think there is still a bit of a divide between like, how do I phrase this? I think it is more of a cultural mosaic, right? Like there's a lot more blending in of the genres in Niagara as a whole than there is in Toronto. Like Toronto, like you have your X scene, and that scene basically sticks to itself from what I've understood. And that's not really the case in Niagara. Everybody knows somebody. We are a very, like physically, we're huge, but population wise, we're like, I think there's like just over 500,000 people, not just like our age, but like people in general in all of Niagara.
Yeah.
But we're like the size of Toronto.
To put it the geography is staggering when you actually sit down and think about it on a map, right? It's like you can drive half an hour and still be in the Niagara region, but you're in 2 to 3 cities over sometimes.
Yeah. And I mean, like there might be some slight differences in terms of like, oh yeah, like there's hardcore in one area and whatever. But I think at the end of the day, Niagara is just Niagara, right? Yeah. I think Welland, there's a couple, I mean, Stuck in Neutral actually, since I mentioned them earlier, they're a Welland band, right? Or like they have some members in Welland, but I think everybody is kind of everywhere, right? Like Hamilton, whenever I mention like, oh yeah, Niagara bands only, people even are like, oh yeah, Hamilton is Niagara. And I'm like, well, not really, but I'm like, yeah, also because like Hamilton bands bleed over into Niagara all the time and vice versa. So like, it kind of makes sense.
It almost feels like Hamilton's like the new dream, right? Like I feel like, when
What a phrase.
right? It feels weird to say that. But
Yeah.
10 years ago, when you were a musician coming up, it was like, yeah, I want to go
Right.
live in Toronto. And that was attainable. You could find rentals, you could find practice
Yeah.
spaces in Toronto. All that stuff is starting to dry up. And I feel like all it's going to do is maybe push the creatives out towards Hamilton, push them maybe further down into the Niagara region. We're going to see St. Catharines get an influx of creative types. You never know how all that's going to play out. And,
Yep.
there's so many economic factors that can affect a music scene. I wanted to ask you what the key to putting on a good show is. What from a promoter standpoint, in the lead up to the show and at the end of the show makes you reflect on, okay, you know what? That was awesome. That was really, really awesome.
Sorry, key to putting on a good show, or like the key metric to being like, yeah, this was a good show?
I guess both. What going up to the show, you're like, gives you confidence that when the doors open, you're going to know that this was a great night. And at the end of it, how do you define what was a great show?
Yeah, I guess that's a fair point. Well, first of all, I'm still fairly well into my infancy with Medium Baby, no pun intended. Like I've been doing this for just shy of 2 years, so I wouldn't necessarily call myself an expert, but from what I've seen so far, one of my how do I say this? When I look at a good show, I look at one, I guess, venue size. So like, are they gonna fill this room? Is this gonna be like a packed room? Because as a music goer, right, a concert goer, nothing feels weirder than being in a 500 cap room with 20 people in it. Like it's like what the fuck is going on here, right? But then also, I think just the general vibe of the actual artists themselves. Like, how do I say this? Do all the artists jive well together? And if I think that works really well, then I'm super excited to see that work. Oddly enough, though, I think the show that we put on together, that didn't. It's not that it didn't make sense, but the genres were so different. But I think that was like the beauty of it. So like I said, I'm still learning this stuff, and I think that was luckily like a really good vibe all throughout, right? Like, because like it like built up into Nonchalant being like the funk ender or whatever type thing, and they were so much fun. But yeah, I guess that. Oh yeah, and everybody walking away looking like they had a good time, right? Like you see faces of everybody like cheering and having a good time. And like I remember, so I put on Vertigo, which was the festival at Brock University in February, and I remember well, I cried because you fucking have to, because I spent like 8 months working on that thing. And I remember what I cried to was two things that triggered me. One, oddly enough, hearing, what was it? Something about cops, don't fuck the cops or something like that, by Mall Crimes.
Yeah.
And also seeing everybody jam out to it, like seeing them all have a good time and like sing along and scream. I was like, that is crazy. Like it finally happened. Like we did it. Like it's happening. First of all, and then second of all, just like seeing that everybody, it's a success from like vibe perspective. Everybody is having a good time. Nobody left just because it was bad.
Yeah.
Or like, not that I'm aware of anyways. Yeah. So I guess, not to put any key metrics on it, but if the vibe that everybody else is putting off is good, then I feel like I did my job as a promoter.
It's almost like you want people to leave the show and talk about the show. And I guess from the promoter standpoint, everybody can go to a show and leave with a sense of the band themselves. Like, oh, that band was awesome. That band that I saw, that was so cool. Gotta go and find that band on streaming. I gotta go find them on social, whatever. But if you leave knowing like Medium Baby put on this show, I need to see what else they're doing. Like that's, I think, the scene goal, not just, I'm sure, for yourself, but just in general. I think that, when I look back at scenes like the Bay Area scene that launched Green Day and Rancid and all those sort of bands that I love so much from the East Bay, you know,
Yeah.
they had their Gilman Street and they had Maximum Rock and Roll. They had all these institutions beyond the artists themselves that really defined the scene and made it successful regardless of, like you say, key metrics. So I think everybody should be taking note of Medium Baby after a show. And I because you guys are really putting together some great lineups and putting some great shows on in great venues. And I'm not just saying that as somebody who's been a part of them. I'm always looking through your Instagram feed and being like, man, that's a show I wish I could get out to. I got to stop working so much. The summertime is always my worst because I work every Saturday night at Merrittville, but
Right.
I am determined to make sure that I start going to
One
more
of these
Medium Baby
days.
shows because you
Yeah,
guys are putting on, like I say, some great lineups. One last one kind of about the Medium Baby life before we get into the playlist portion of the show.
Sure.
And what's the biggest challenge of putting on shows these days and being a part of the music scene as a show promoter?
The biggest hurdle?
Yeah.
So when I started doing music, or like started performing, it's easy to convince your friends to come out if you are playing.
Yeah.
But how the hell do you convince your friends to come out to a show that you're not playing at? That I think that was the biggest hurdle for me when I started, at least. Was like, yeah, this is a great band, but they're like, I've never heard of them. I don't care. I'm like, no, but like, listen to me. I promise you, Clockwise is gonna fuck your shit up. I promise. They're like, I don't know. I'm like, no. That's where I have the biggest struggle for me as a promoter. But then I learned to sort of call it detach myself from what I'm offering, and people go out for vibes.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, you're like, hey, I want to go mosh. There's this show on Friday. I don't know anything that's happening in it, but it looks cool. Do you want to come? Or I got a date night coming up. There's this cute acoustic indie songwriter thing that Cedar and Spruce is putting on. Do you want to go to it? It's at I don't know, it's wherever they play everywhere, right? So that sort of thing, right? Is like I go out for the vibes. So I think one of the hardest things that I've had to do is, I guess, one, get it in front of people's eyes.
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest part, honestly. Like, yeah, there's paid ads and stuff, but that only does so much. That gets people aware of things, but that doesn't make them buy it, because like I probably like I see so many of them. But maybe I'm also biased because like I see so many because my algorithm's just littered with music, right?
Yeah.
So I think to put it succinctly, the hardest part is getting, one, in front of people's eyes, two, convincing them that the vibes are actually going to be what they want, and three, getting them interested in the artists themselves and like getting engaged with the local music community in any capacity, right? Like if you're coming out to open mics, there's a small chance that you might want to come out to like local shows and stuff, right? Like that, right? And so yeah, that's I don't know if that answered your question.
No, it definitely does.
Well, yeah, okay.
That's everything is so interesting about what you've got going on with Medium Baby and that promotion side of things to me, because, as somebody who took the leap into starting a band this year, which I didn't even really expect to do. I thought I was just going to play a couple shows as a solo guitar guy.
Yeah.
And then I started playing with some old friends, and I was like, man, this is a lot of fun. And then, you start writing some songs and you're like, okay, well, maybe this is going to go somewhere. But,
Yeah.
When you want to be a part of a local scene and that's your goal, it's so fascinating to learn about what's already going on and the kind of the groundwork that folks like yourself have laid, groundwork like the folks at Indoor Shoes and Eric and everybody at the warehouse have already started to lay for this community. I feel like even pre-pandemic, I can only imagine what the music scene in Niagara would be if we didn't have the warehouse pop up, however many years ago it was now.
Oh man, that, like, I think that was like 2017, something like that.
Yeah, something like that, I think.
They popped up, and it's like, it's so clutch that like it popped up when it did. Because can you imagine if they didn't show, if like they tried to set that up in 2020, like, like they had the permits and everything, and it was like 2020, and then it just gets immediately shut down.
Oh,
like, they just squeaked by with that.
Yeah.
And they made it out alive.
Yeah. And they made it out alive, and they've made it out to continue to thrive. I mean, when I think about the shows that I've seen at the Warehouse, like the Dirty Nil played there, I think it was their third year anniversary show at the Warehouse.
Right.
Was headlined by the Nil.
Yeah.
I
Was
saw
that
the
double
Beaches
show or whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw the Beaches at the Warehouse, and now can you imagine they're sold out at Bud Stage, and that was only 6 years ago. So you never know, even if you don't know a band, like you never know where they're going to go by going out and being a part of a show at the Warehouse or at the Dive Pub or at Camp Cataract or all these venues and spaces that are suddenly welcoming music with open arms. And we're all pretty lucky. And I hope that Niagara music fans start to come out and appreciate it, and don't let it sleep under your nose.
Yeah. And like, honestly, like getting on the ground level with like the smaller artists that will eventually blow up, because like maybe not all of them obviously, but some of them do, right? Like actually, so one of the first shows that I set up at Warehouse, Eric put me on to a band called Valley, who was opening. So they actually were playing at so before Medium Baby was a club at Brock called Go Live, which was doing the same thing, but again, I still didn't know the name show promoter.
Yeah.
And also it was a club, so it's like, you know, it can only do so much. But that show with Valley, I brought out some Brock students and whatever, yada yada yada. And if I'm being perfectly honest with you, it didn't do very well. But we played with Valley when they were obviously not known in the area. And then now they're playing a Budweiser, right? It's crazy. And like the same thing with the Nil and like the Beaches Pup, whatever, right? Like I think the Nil played at Warehouse before as well.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was sold out then.
I saw them when their first record had just come out at the Detour Music Hall.
Right. Yeah.
When that was still a thing.
Rest in peace.
I know, right?
Yeah,
that was an
crazy.
awesome but weird space, man.
It's open-ish again.
It's like a nightclub now or something.
Yeah, it's a nightclub. Everything's a nightclub, man. Like L3 as well. Rest in peace.
Yeah,
you know?
Some good times.
That's how she goes.
All right. Well, before we get too far into reminiscing, I have to kind of introduce you to the game and the whole point of this podcast, which is to make a playlist. I have my David Bowie Vans hat here filled with approximately 60 prompts, if you will. I call them song superlatives, if you will.
Ooh,
and basically your job is going to be to pick 12 songs based on these prompts. And they're going to be kind of like whatever is the first thing that comes to your mind. Like if you need a second to think about it, you need a second to look at your phone. Totally fine. That's what editing is for.
Yeah.
But
fix it in post.
see just what comes to mind when you answer a question. So, Kirk, I know you do this all the time, but are you ready to make a playlist?
Yeah, I'm ready to make a playlist.
All right. I guess, you know what? I should ask you the question. I wasn't going to ask it to you because you make playlists all the time. But when was the last time you made somebody either like a mixtape, CD, or playlist directly? Just like for that one or maybe a group of friends?
I don't even know. I think I remember in like I don't do playlists very often, like actually like making them for my friends and stuff.
Yeah.
The closest that I've done is like for my birthday parties and like parties that I have like friends and stuff, I create like a collaborative playlist where you can just like toss whatever you want in then. And obviously all my friends are trolling the shit out of me the entire time. You know, like putting on like 17 times the Rick Astley song and like, oh my fucking God. But like, I think the last time that I've like romantically built a playlist was, oh my God, back when you had to burn CDs.
Nice.
You know, I think like I actually made like my first girlfriend a CD that I don't think she opened. I'm like pretty sure she just saw what it was. It was like, oh,
that's nice. I don't even have a CD player. How do I get this on my iPod?
But I did it. You know, that was the thing. I did.
The intention was there.
Yes, exactly.
That's the important part. Yeah. All right, well, let's launch right into it. Let's see what song one is going to be. So I need from you a song featuring your favorite drummer or drum performance, which I think is oddly enough one that started a recent podcast off as well. But favorite drum performance on a song.
Okay, so I'm a big math rock fan.
Ooh, okay.
So I love just when the drums go fucking haywire. Two bands that come to mind. So Giraffes. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
I feel like I have, but I don't know why.
They're whack as fuck. I don't know the drummer's name though. Unfortunately. Let me think here. I'm still trying to think. So a couple songs come to mind. Songs for the Deaf by Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That immediately comes to mind. Onset by Hikes. Another math rock band. Catholic Girls by what did I just say? Giraffes. And I think that's it.
So now you got to narrow it down to one, though.
Yeah. Oh, if I got to narrow it down to one. Sorry, this was like my favorite.
Yeah, so it's a song featuring your favorite drummer or drum performance.
I think I gotta go with Songs for the Deaf. Honestly, just
Nice.
There's too much nostalgia attached to it. I just like that was like one of my favorite songs to play on the drums as well. I'm not very good at it, but
that intro alone, right?
It's crazy. What?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like unless you like actually play the drums, I can I can get by. If you give me a drum kit and just like want to jam out, I could do it. But
yeah.
If you want me to go on stage and actually like not miss a beat, nah, you're good. I'll pass.
You want somebody else. I'm right there with you. Where it's like, if I had to record my own drum tracks, I could, but it'd be the simplest. It'd be like AC/DC core to the
a little
from start to the
floor.
finish.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got for track 2. I'm gonna dig deep in this one, see if maybe I can get one I haven't had yet in any previous guests. Let's see. Oh, this one's a smaller one. A song from the 70s, a song from the 1970s.
Oh shit. I don't know anything about the years that these songs come out that I listen to. I was gonna say I'm just before that. It's all the 80s that I'm specifically familiar with.
Ooh,
or like
80s kid.
I'm just thinking like Pixies, right? Like that's like 80s,
late 80s,
right?
yeah.
Who the hell's from the 70s? I don't know why. Maybe I'm just.
You can go Zeppelin. You can go Fleetwood Mac. Early AC/DC.
Oh, true. Yeah, I guess those are
kind of later Black Sabbath. There's a lot of options.
There's a lot more
a lot
than
of garbage in the 70s too.
Well, fair enough. Said Zeppelin. Okay, wait. Sorry. When's the Smiths?
Smiths' first album, I want to say, was 82. I'm going to double check that now.
Yeah, am I allowed? Is that?
Yeah, you can Google. You can use the phone.
79.
Yeah,
can I take it?
Let's see. I'm interested because I feel like the Smiths' first album. Let's see.
Yeah,
they're formed in 82, so it definitely wasn't in the 70s.
Nah, rest in peace. You know what? I'm literally just gonna Google 70s bands.
Yeah, go for it.
And be like, okay, I actually remember these.
That's the best part. I love stumping people with one, making you guys think. That's almost as good and almost rewarding as a host as when you instantly can answer one.
Right.
I recently had Mateo from Other Wives on, and he was like instantaneous with all of his answers. So I'm like, did you like prep for this? Like, the questions all change episode to episode. So I don't even know how you managed to do this. And at this point, none of the episodes have even aired. This is still the prompt of season 1.
Right. There's technically Queen is in there.
Yeah,
Queen is in there. It's a bit of a basic answer to pick Queen, but honestly, oddly enough, I'm gonna just because it's funny. Roundabout by Yes.
Oh, banger!
Yeah,
certified banger.
I'm throwing that in there. I just found them on this list, and I'm like, yeah, because that's hilarious.
Yeah, Roundabout's an absolute banger, especially, I mean, A for the meme. Do you remember that when that was
Obviously the
a
meme.
meme
Yeah.
going around?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the
But
only reason that I know how to play it.
right?
Not the whole thing. Not the whole thing. I'm not that good.
But
But
you had to learn the bass part because it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
so
a
much
little
fun.
bit. Just so people know that I know the meme.
I like it. What year is that track? Now I want to know
Oh, the
specifically.
specific track? Oh, I don't know.
I'm gonna give it a Google now because I want to see what year it came out. Um,
Okay, wait. Yeah. What if I'm lying to you?
I don't think it was as early as
Oh,
the 60s.
71.
Yeah,
71.
71. That makes sense. I
Yeah.
was gonna say I'm pretty sure that was like early 70s. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go on to track number 3 on the playlist, Kirk. And I'm digging deep again here into the Bowie hat and see what we pull out. Your favorite acoustic track.
Oh. So I don't know if it's my favorite, but definitely the one that I'm like vibing to the most right now. Or like one that like has the most vivid memories for me is so I went to San Francisco recently and I like got lost in the woods, like on purpose, obviously, like went for a hike. And as I was driving up, first of all, mountains are gorgeous up, not in San Francisco, but like just outside of
Yeah.
the, like past the Golden Gate Bridge, into Muir Woods. And I was listening to Sea Rose, SEA Rose,
Okay.
and I was listening to Lizzie McAlpine, specifically the song Headed to the Mountains or To the Mountains. It's just called To the Mountains.
Okay.
So I would say that one. Yeah. To the Mountains by Lizzie McAlpine.
Ooh, all right. That one I'm not familiar with. So this is again part of the whole reason that I kind of came up with the show is to steal everybody's music tastes and get some inspiration. So To the Mountains, Lizzie McAlpine.
I like this idea, first of all. I didn't know that this was the format, and I really like this format idea. I don't know if this is gonna be cut out in post, but I don't care.
No,
I
I'm
feel like
keeping.
I
Are
gotta
you
tell
kidding me?
this
You're
right
pumping my tires. This is staying in the show for sure. Absolutely.
now.
Come
Okay,
on.
yeah, yeah. No,
When
it's
you
a
say
great,
you
it's a great
hate it
idea.
at the end, maybe I'll change my mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe I'll just say that anyways, just to give your editor some more time, and the editor being you.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Season 1, we do not have a budget for the editor. Maybe if the Patreon blows up, we'll get an editor.
right.
But
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now,
yeah.
we're
Okay,
flying
sick.
solo.
Yeah, awesome.
All right. So track number 4 on the playlist, Kirk. A song with your favorite lyrics,
Ooh.
or even just one favorite line.
Again, I think I have so many songs that like resonate with me. There's two that come out. Um Phoebe Bridgers and Sea Rose again.
Mm-hmm.
Most recently, so like I this was I heard these songs when I was going through a breakup, which is when all the songs like really pump out at you. And so Phoebe Bridgers, Savior Complex,
Okay.
um, and Sea Rose, Guard Dog.
Ooh, okay.
I
Which
think
one do you
those two.
pick?
So if I could pick one,
Yeah, you got to go one.
if I could go one, I'll go Savior Complex because that's the one that I cried to legitimately. The
And
other
that
one I was
one,
close.
and let me make sure I got that right in my head, and I didn't. That was the Phoebe Bridgers track, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phoebe Bridgers, Savior Complex. Yeah.
What album was that from? Because I feel like I may have even heard that track now that I'm
It's from
thinking
the
about
second album. Yeah, that's from Punisher.
Yes. Okay. That would
Yeah.
make sense why I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
All right. So far, I don't think. No, Queens has come up on some other playlists, but so far, no other artists that you've picked so far have been on a playlist yet.
Oh,
And surprisingly, the Roundabout Yes, not the longest song that's been chosen either, as somebody did
not
choose.
the longest.
Yeah, I think that was Dogs, the Pink Floyd song that's like 20 minutes long or something
Holy
like that.
shit. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
So again,
Yeah.
this is truly a wide open thing. Wow, this is I think the first time we've ever gotten the very first song on the or very first song prompt on the list. Number 1, your favorite song
My favorite song?
all time, number 1, baby,
Fuck.
with a bullet.
Oh God. Why are
I
you doing
know.
this to me? Wow. Um my favorite song. Okay. I'm just gonna word vomit here.
Go for it.
So if I was gonna pick my favorite song, is it just like right now, or like of all time, like get
I'll
wrecked
let
everything?
you decide that. If you want to go favorite song right now, and because it's easier, you can absolutely say
You know
that.
what? What I might do is something closer to like the most influential song in my musicality.
Sure.
Would that count as
Yeah,
like my
we'll count it.
favorite contextually? Because like it's a couple songs that I can think of, but honestly, Modest Mouse had such a big influence on me as a
Really?
musician. Yeah. Which is odd because I never made any mention of Modest Mouse in any of this interview. But Teeth Like God's Shoe Shine by Modest Mouse, I'd have to put on the list. If we were going to pick one song that is somehow my favorite song, which I would never be able to legitimately pick this, but arguably one of the most influential songs that I have ever listened to and learned on guitar would be Teeth Like God's Shoe Shine by Modest Mouse.
I like it. Another kind of off the board pick. This is why I'm happy to have you on the show. I knew you were going to give me some unique answers.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's see. We're on to track number 6 of a 12-song playlist. So we'll be halfway in once we hit this one. This one's actually come up the last couple episodes, and it's one of my favorite questions that I've written down. It's a song from a video game.
The Last of Us. What is it called? Okay, I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I don't actually know the name of the song.
Is it like actual soundtrack stuff, or is it like
It's
a song they
soundtrack
grabbed?
stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. The Last of Us. I'm sure, like, if you Google it, it'll be, or like look it up.
Is it like the title theme to it?
Yeah, I think it's literally just called The Last of Us or something like that. The Last of Us. Is it this one? If I look up this. Yeah, it's literally just called The Last of Us. So it's The Last of Us by Gustavo Santaolalla. I
We'll Google
butchered
it
that.
before I put it on any sort of social media post. Don't worry.
Yeah, could you like AI voice change me so that I pronounce it right?
Put up like the flash, just like
Yeah.
Gustavo. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll give you a pass. Again, I
yeah,
literally
okay.
started this interview off camera by asking you how to say your last name because I am
Right.
so paranoid of saying anybody's last name wrong.
No, totally fair. Yeah, I would also be terrified of that if I was in your position. So thank you.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate the patience at the start of things.
Yeah,
well, let's move on to track number 7 now. And let's see what we got here. So this one's folded up pretty tight too, which makes me think I haven't had this one yet. A song to dance to.
It's a little basic, but "Hot to Go" by Chapel Roan.
Nice.
Yeah, it's all over my feed. I love this song. Whenever I'm like, I want to dance to something, it's Chapel Roan, "Hot to Go."
Here's an aggressive take that I feel like we need to quickly discuss.
Ooh, okay.
Is "Hot to Go" and the dance that corresponds with it going to be Gen Z's, if not Gen Alpha's, YMCA?
Ooh.
Like in 25 years from now, are DJs at weddings? Is it going to be thrown up there and you're just going to be like, there's 40-year-old moms embarrassing their kids doing HOT? Like, was that what's going to happen? I feel like that's what's going to happen.
I like that take. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes just so that in 20 years, I'll look back on this interview and be like, we were right.
We called it.
Because if we're wrong, then we're just wrong, right?
And what difference does it make?
This fades into obscurity and nobody cares about this specific prediction. But in 20 to 30 years from now, at mine and or my like whatever grandma's wedding. Wait, what? You know,
granddaughter.
What I mean? Yeah, granddaughter's wedding. Granddaughter's wedding. I'm gonna be sitting there doing HOTTOGO.
I like it.
We predicted it now. Amazing.
I think there's a chance. I really think it's got that kind of staying power.
I'm with you. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. All right, let's see what we got for track number 8. Let's see here. Oh, this one's I think a longer one here. A song featuring your favorite singer or vocal performance.
Oh, what is my favorite vocal performance? Who's my favorite vocalist? I don't know. I've never thought about that. I listen to people with shitty vocals all the time. That's the whole thing, you know, like Modest Mouse. Um, fuck. Sorry, let me think here.
Yeah, no worries.
Uh, like I immediately gravitate towards Phoebe.
Ooh,
So
you could
sorry,
double
a
down on
song.
Phoebe.
Yeah, I could double down on. Yeah, fuck, why not? Right. Just any song that is by my favorite vocalist.
Yeah.
Trying to think about my favorite. Oh, you know what? One of my favorite performances by her, which you won't find on Spotify if you're specifically looking for it. But there's this specific, call it, iteration of her performance where she is singing the song Georgia
Mm-hmm.
in a red flannel. And they're I know it's like really specific, but if you YouTube it, if you look up Phoebe Bridgers Georgia red flannel, it will show up and you will know what I'm talking about. But that specific performance of her is like so raw and amazing. It's just I love that very hyper specific performance of that song. So
And is that
Georgia
the
by
same
Phoebe.
album too for Georgia? There's the actual studio track because she did a studio track of that one, right? Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah.
She did. But like, I think this is actually before the studio track came out.
Oh.
So yeah, so this is like when she was like going around busking and stuff, and then she finally got on like a YouTube show type thing, and then happened to play that song, and it's like went so like a lot of artists, what you'll see is that they're just screaming into the mic, and it's so raw and powerful. But then like when they grow up and like grow into their voice, they learn how to control it, and it's more it fits their voice better, and so like it's more sustainable and yada yada yada. It's more of a beautiful tone. But Phoebe Bridgers, like young, like 20-year-old 20 19 20-year-old Phoebe Bridgers, just fucking belting it with like no control. Oh, that's the version that I love
Is that
the
another
most.
one from the breakup era?
Yes and no. So like I discovered that song. So like discovered that song after, like way after we broke up. But like yes,
So you're already into
I'll say
Phoebe,
yes.
and then you're like went back and you're like, oh wait, there's even more.
Yeah, there's more. Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I was listening to it when I was at work. Because there's something stupid where my office blocks Spotify, so I have to look up stuff on YouTube. And so I really was in a Phoebe Bridgers mood, and so I looked up just like Phoebe Bridgers performances, and that one showed up, and I was like, this is insane. I love this.
That's
and I will
awesome.
put this on repeat every time.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I love to hear it.
Thanks.
All right, let's move on to we're on to track number 9. We're moving through this one pretty good here. Let's see where we at. Let's see. This is song prompt number 17, which is a song from the 2010s.
What are songs from the 2010s? Is this one? Oh my god. I'm trying to double check that this is actually from the 2010s.
Go for it.
Amazing. 2013.
Perfect.
So TTNG, This Town Needs Guns. Math rock band, Cat Fantastic. We were talking about the drummers earlier, and this one was, call it a what's it called when you want to mention them at the end of a list or something, but they didn't quite make the list. Honorable mention.
Like an honorable mention? Okay.
Yeah. They were my honorable mention in terms of drummers from earlier, but Cat Fantastic, TTNG. There it is.
All right. And to clarify, Cat Fantastic is the band? Is the artist?
Sorry. Cat Fantastic is the name of the song.
Oh,
it's
got
by
it.
A band called This Town Needs Guns.
Got it.
Yeah. Again, another math rock band. It's a little less math rocky than their other stuff, but that one really stands out to me as one of my favorites from them, just because I don't know. It's got a good vibe to it, good rhythm.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. And we're down to 3 more tracks to round out the playlist here. Let's go with A song from a band you think everyone should listen to.
Oh,
I know,
song
and I
from-
know this is a very hard one, being your role in the music scene in Niagara, where there's probably a million Niagara bands that you want to shout out right now, but I'm making you choose just one. So maybe you just skip all of Niagara, and I don't even know. I don't even know what you go with this one. This is
Everybody should listen to. You know what? Honestly, this. Sorry, Niagara scene. I'm gonna put. So I'm from Brantford, technically.
okay.
And so like that's where I was born. Well, not born there technically, but that's where I was raised. And I moved here for university. But there's a band out of Brantford that is fucking shit up right now, called Sun Junkies.
Okay.
People in Niagara, anytime they hear them, they're always like, "Wow, these guys are insane." They've only played here twice, and every time I've only heard good things about them. And I also just genuinely love their stuff. So if we were gonna call out I'm so sorry about the Niagara scene, but we're like,
Isn't Brantford one of those ones that almost extends into the Niagara scene, though?
No, they're closer to like KW, I guess.
I guess,
I guess they sort of get consumed by the KW region more than the Hamilton region.
Yeah.
That's but they're like equidistant from either, so like they're center of everywhere, middle of nowhere type thing, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, the Sun Junkies, they're very similar. Like if you like Pup, you'll like Sun Junkies. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. So sorry, is this one song?
Yeah,
from
one
them?
song. What's that, like one song that you're like, okay, this is the one that you need to start with, and then if you like it, dive deeper.
This is like, oh, I'm giving this to my friend as a recommendation. Like you'll like, if you like this one, you'll like the rest of their stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you
You
could
get
go
it?
obscure too, and you could go like the bottom of the barrel, where like if the weirdest
yeah.
track that you love personally, you could do that too.
Okay.
But
Yeah. So
I wrote it to be like, all right, I'm giving you the first track. This is exactly where the thread starts before you start to really unravel things and keep pulling at it.
Yeah. Okay, I see. So I'm gonna give you two songs, and then I will narrow it down to one just as we're talking. So number one is my personal favorite, but is not their most popular technically, but still top three, is Nothing / Smile.
Okay.
It fucking rules. It's so much fun. There's that. This is also from their new album. So Nothing / Smile. That one is the most fun, besides like their actual most popular one. But that one is the one that I fell in love with first. And then also there's a song that they have called Yeah, which is incredibly Modest Mouse inspired. Like I legitimately talked to them after the show, and I was like, "Was that a Modest Mouse cover?" And they're like, "No, this was one of our songs." I was like, "Shit." But if I had to choose one, so if we're recommending it to someone, then I'll choose Nothing / Smile.
Okay,
So
Nothing /
if this is going
Smile.
in this playlist, then I will pick that one. But call it honorable mention. And if anybody is listening to this podcast and likes Modest Mouse and likes Pup, please listen to Yeah by the Sun Junkies. They are, like, I think legitimately one of my favorite bands right now. Not just in the Niagara region, just like, or like not just in the quote unquote local scene, but just in general.
Nice.
You know? Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Now I'm super stoked to check them out too, because
Please.
I do enjoy my Modest Mouse, but I love Pop, so that's
right. Yeah. Insane. Both insane. Okay. Yes.
Awesome.
You got a show to run. I'll let you keep moving.
No, it's fine. If you want to nerd out, we've got all the time that you have in the world. I'll go and let you nerd out as long as you need.
Yeah. No, but I think that's all I have to say about them. They're just great. They put on such a good performance, and if you like Pup and you like Modest Mouse, then you'll definitely like these guys.
Cool. All right. So your penultimate track. I think that's the right. I've said it a couple times on the podcast without actually saying it. Penultimate is like second to last, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't sounding like an idiot, because I'm just a radio host, guys. Podcasting's hard. Let's see here. So this is a song featuring your favorite bass player or bass performance.
Oh, fuck. My favorite bass. You know what? So I tried picking up the bass, and I put together a playlist for me to learn how to play the fucking bass.
Ooh. What's in that?
Ooh.
That's
so I got so these were the songs that I was trying to learn on bass. So we got So I'm just gonna list them off, and then I'll tell you which one I think is actually one of my favorites. Actually, we got a local band in here. Deep in the Posse by Sunshine Express.
Oh,
That's a local one that I keep asking them to play, and they will never play it for me. So I'm trying to find a way to make them do it. So I have that. I have Dua Lipa. They have some really dope bass lines, legitimately. Tame Impala, obviously.
yep.
Modest Mouse. Tiny Cities Made of Ashes. Some Arctic Monkeys. What else is on here? The Regrets for some reason. Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
I think I
Cage the
played with
Elephant.
them.
The Regrets?
No, wait. I kind of
I'm like, they're from California. No fucking way. That's
no.
crazy.
I'm trying to think
Because
of
they
the.
could have been on tour or something as like a smaller artist.
Well, there was a
back in the
Hamilton
day.
band that I played with that I thought was called The Regrets. I'm gonna check that while
They
you
could be
while
called
you pick
that.
a song.
Sure, sure. Yeah, Cage the Elephant, Come a Little Closer is on there. And Boy Genius is on there. Satanist by Boy Genius. But if I had to choose one, which I actually didn't say earlier, if it is my favorite bassist, this feels kind of cheap, but I'm gonna say Wolfpack.
Okay,
Dean Town by Wolfpack. If we're gonna put on one song,
Dean Town.
yeah, Dean Town, Dean Town.
All right, and Wolf is it W-E or
No,
W-U-L?
it's VULF.
Oh, okay.
Wolfpack, all one word.
All right.
No,
That
Dean
one I
Town
can
by
honestly
Wolf.
say have not heard of, and will check out.
Really? Okay,
I
yeah, yeah,
don't
yeah.
think I have, anyways.
There's a small chance you've heard it and just didn't know what you were listening to. Because I listened to them and I was like, oh, I like this song, and I didn't know it was them, and I was like, oh shit, it's them.
Yeah.
And then I was specific. Corey Wong, does that sound familiar to you? That
Yes,
name?
actually, it does.
Yeah. So he is the bassist for Wolfpack,
Okay.
and like functionally, it's like, you know how Hayley Williams is Paramore, but she's not Paramore.
Yeah.
It's like Wolfpack is Corey Wong, but it's not actually Corey Wong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same
Fair
thing,
enough.
yeah.
Completely get that. And I googled it, and I did not play with the Regrets. That is a different band. I don't know who the band I'm thinking of that I played with. Oh, Baronets. That's what I think that's who
The
I'm thinking of.
Baronets. Okay, yeah, that sounds familiar. They're from
think-
Hamilton or something, right?
Yes, I think that's who
Yeah,
I'm thinking
yeah.
of instead of the Regrets,
Right.
because I know like they have the ETTES, I think on both spellings of
Oh,
both
cool.
bands. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure that's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I'm confusing it, but maybe there's just too many bands, and that's the worst but best problem to have.
There are a lot of bands like Chubb. You're familiar with
Yep.
the band Chubb from the area. They're a bitch to Google. If you just look up Chubb band, there's a UK band that shows up
Oh,
every fucking time. They're like grungy. They're pretty cool, but like they're just like overshadowing our Chubb, who is probably the better Chubb.
ooh, hot take, but I'm here for it.
I mean, you don't know the other Chubb, so who cares, right? They're never going to see them.
I've only heard of one.
Yeah. I mean, we're a little biased, but yeah. Yeah, Chubb.
Nice.
Yeah. There's a lot of bands.
Yeah.
There's so many bands out
There's
there.
so many bands. I feel like it's getting to the point now too where I feel like I've even seen concert posters where it's two bands that have the same name, but they'll put like in brackets US and then like in brackets UK or something like that.
yeah, exactly. Like they're close enough that you're like, fuck.
We're gonna
Right?
have
like no, you go.
I was just gonna say we're gonna start having a bunch of bands adding random numbers at the end of them, like Blink-182, because there was already a Blink. So they're like, well, I guess 182.
Yeah. Exactly. Or like bands just randomly changing their name, like Pez.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, Pez into Billy Talent type thing. Yeah. Yeah, classic. Good old Pez.
All right. We've got one track to finish out the playlist here, Kirk. Let's see. I'm gonna reach deep into the Bowie hat this time. I wanna try not to pull all of them out, but all right, let's see here.
Sure.
Ending off with a song with a female singer, which you've already had more than a few female singers.
Oh yeah.
We've had multiple entries from Phoebe, right? So
yeah, maybe I'll change things up. Any female singer doesn't matter.
Yep, doesn't matter if they're your favorite, least favorite, doesn't matter. Just a song with a female singer.
Oh shit. Oh, there's so many that I'm like immediately popping into mind right now. So like we're talking like locals, I'm immediately like Minuscule is like genuinely also one of my favorite bands. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're locals.
Yep.
Uh, I love Laurel's music and her musicality and her writing. That one of her songs also legitimately made me cry as well. Great.
Nice.
Um, I've recently discovered Avalon Stone from London. I really like their stuff. They're like the best way I could describe it is like alt feminine rage type thing.
Cool. That
Yeah,
sounds sick.
it's great.
It's like post Riot Girl almost.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, post Riot Girl. I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna use that going forward when I talk about her, or them. I don't know. And but kind of on the line of Avalon Stone, there's a band that produced Boy Geniuses. Oh wait, why don't I just say Boy Genius? No,
You could go Boy
I do want to
Genius.
choose.
I wouldn't hate that.
I could go Boy Genius. But I kind of want to go Illuminati Hotties.
Oh wow! Yes.
Right?
Oh, I love Illuminati
I
Hotties.
fucking love Illuminati Hotties. So you listen to them. I know very few people that actually know.
Yeah.
Are you going to their show? They have a show in October.
I think I'm not, because if I remember correctly, it's either while I'm away on my honeymoon or like it's literally when we're getting married.
Oh, jeez. Well,
Yeah.
first of all, congrats. I didn't know that you were getting married.
Oh,
soon,
thanks,
so.
man. Yeah.
Congrats,
October 12th is the date. So I think
yeah, it's October the 11th.
Yeah.
Oh no, it is October the 12th. It's exactly
That's
October
what it
the
was.
12th.
There's a bunch of shows that are happening right around our wedding dates. There's the Illuminati Hotties show. Oh, who else? There's somebody else coming that I'm kicking myself because I can't go to the show.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember. But there's a couple that popped up and I'm like, why?
Do you listen to Goalkeeper at all?
A little
They're from
bit.
Philadelphia. So actually, so this is unannounced, but technically it'll be announced by the time you release this, anyways.
Yeah.
Assuming you don't release it like tomorrow.
No, it's gonna be out in September. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Very much announced. Goalkeeper is coming. I have a show with Goalkeeper unannounced on October 11th.
amazing.
The day before your wedding. So I don't feel. Wait a minute. The day before. There's another band. I had Rival Town on that bill, but they dropped out because October the 12th was their new wedding date because things got moved around as well. So two bands are getting married around the same time. Crazy.
Nice.
But yeah, so yeah, they got a show around then too. Yeah, there's so many things that are happening. Fall is the time to tour, I guess.
Yeah.
See, this is the type of shit that you learn when you're like in one in the music industry and two as a concert goer. You're like, what the hell is happening right now? Everybody wants to play in the fall.
Yeah, it's like because summer's over, the heat's not so bad, so you can get around in a van and not sweat to death. All the smaller venues are getting populated again because the big summer outdoor concert, that season's kind of winding down, and everybody's trying to beat the snow on the East Coast for sure. That too.
Right. And like you still have that like summer vibe of like, I want to go out and do stuff, but it's colder.
Yeah.
Right. So like you don't want to be physically outside, but I want to do stuff.
People are loving sweater weather, right? That fall season is starting to be more and more popular. I've always been a summer guy, but
yeah. Man, I love soup season. Fucks. Soup season is the right season.
All right, I like it. Speaking of fucks, I need a
so
song from Illuminati Hotties, if that's what you want to
Illuminati
stick with.
Hotties, a song that fucks that not many people know about is Content/Bedtime.
Nice.
From their second album, I think.
I think so.
That one is legitimately one of my favorite songs by them. It is so weird and wacky and fun and just like so much going on in that one. That one, if we had to pick a song, Bedtime by Illuminati Hotties.
I think I'm trying to remember if they played that one when I saw them at the Horseshoe. That show was a really good show. I'm trying to remember what was on the set list. If it wasn't, I'm definitely giving myself a refresher on that one because I don't remember it the same way.
I think I asked somebody. So a friend of mine did go to that show. I discovered them after the Horseshoe show, which I'm so sad about. But I think they did not play it because I asked them specifically, did they play that song?
Yeah, because that one's almost like a deeper cut, anyways. I feel like
it is a deeper cut. Yeah. Because I think they just released this is the album or something that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Ow, ah, or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know. How do you say that out loud?
Um,
The moo,
if
ah,
I
ah?
if I look at it, I feel like I remember because I know what you're talking about. Because I stylistically looked at it and I was like tilting my head like I was a dog or something. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Mm,
How?
mm.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What is
It's fine.
the yeah, I'm still let me do one more, still my favorite, my go-to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair
But
enough.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's hard to pick. I don't even know what if I have a hot favorite like Illuminati
For
Hotties
Illuminati
track. It's
Hotties?
so
Yeah,
hard to
yeah.
narrow in one. They're a great band and
Yeah.
great production. And I love that trend too that we've seen because Bully's kind of in that same camp of where
Right.
the person that starts the band is basically doing it to advertise their production skills,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like
yeah. True.
we
Oh,
need
Bully
more of
did the
that in the
same.
Niagara
Oh, I
region.
didn't know that. Oh, cool. Yeah, do we have any Oh, I mean, I guess technically we have like Nitro Girl-ish.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, but I don't think he's like out there being like, I'm a producer, come to me also, and then plays Nitro Girl, right? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think
not
that's
like we're all getting Nitro Girl in the inbox and being like, "Yeah, I can do this for you too." Like it's like
right, right.
we're trying to be something, but we're also able to make our own records and all that. So
Yeah, yeah, because Illuminati Hotties did the new record for Boy Genius,
yes,
which I didn't know about until after I got like way into Illuminati Hotties and heard they were on tour, sort of
yeah,
together. Which is, I actually went out to see Boy Genius, Carly Rae Jepsen,
really.
and yeah, and Illuminati Hotties all on the same bill in Vancouver. It
And you
was
flew out to Vancouver for that show?
yes and no. Like I have a bunch of friends that I've been meaning to visit in the area, so it's like
Perfect
fuck
excuse.
it. Yeah. Also, tickets I think were like half the price of Toronto
Oh,
because it was like
nice.
$90 for VIP tickets.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
slam dunk.
Uh, yeah, it was crazy. Versus it was like 100 and something, almost $200 for tickets at Budweiser.
Yeah,
And I was like, you know what, and I get like a trip out of it and whatever. Plus, like the job that I was working at, I was working like weekends and stuff, so you get like time off in lieu. And I accumulated like almost a month and a half of vacation time, and I was like, I gotta fucking use this. So I
yeah.
booked off like a week and a half or 2 weeks, something like that. It was great.
That's fucking awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's so
thank you.
sick. I
Yeah,
love a
it
good
made the
concert
most sense.
travel. Like last
Yeah.
summer, my fiance and I, we went to Detroit, and I've always been meaning to get to Detroit. I wanted to go to like Third Man Records, check out Jack White's
Oh,
space
cool.
there in Detroit. It's because it's it's close enough. It's like a 4-hour drive max, right, to get down there by the time you cross the border. So we did that. We went to see the Arctic Monkeys because tickets were cheaper to go to this smaller amphitheater in Clarkston, Michigan, which is like a town over from Detroit, kind of like out in the sticks a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, the tickets were cheaper. We got better seats. Fontaine's DC opened. Like it was such a good show.
Wow. Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's crazy like what you could get when you just travel to go see play. Like, say what you will about Toronto, but it's expensive as fuck to see anything
Mm-hmm.
in the area, you know? At least you could like even Montreal is better in
Yeah.
terms of prices. Like whenever bands are in town. I don't know who I was planning on seeing, but there was a band that I was like considering driving down to Montreal to go see instead. I don't remember who it was. It might have been Phoebe Bridgers, legitimately. I
Nice.
do a lot for Phoebe Bridgers, apparently.
Apparently, she's your girl. She helps get you through
Yeah.
some hard times.
Yeah, proper.
All
I should
right.
have worn the shirt.
Yeah. Nice. That would have been well. I got my U2
Right.
shirt on, so
Nice.
where are we at here? We got we're done. We've got through 12 songs,
That was
Kirk.
all
We
12.
nailed it.
Yeah,
Here.
that was all 12. Yeah,
All right, so let's run through this playlist here. I've got Songs for the Deaf, Queens of the Stone Age, Roundabout, yes. I can't even read my own writing. It is the Lizzie McAlpine track, which was
To the Mountains.
To the Mountain. That's right.
Yeah.
I have really bad handwriting, so sometimes it's a
all
bad idea.
good.
Thankfully, it's all audio and recorded, so I can go back and be like, what did I write down here?
Yeah.
Savior Complex, Phoebe Bridgers, Teeth, like a god, like God's Shoe Shine, from Modest Mouse. We've got The Last of Us title theme from Gustavo something or other. We will Google how to say that the right way.
I'm sure you'll figure it out. Yeah, quick Google.
Hot to Go, Chapel Roan, Georgia, Phoebe Bridgers, Cat Fantastic, This Town Needs Guns,
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
Nothing Smile from the Sun Junkies, Dean Town from Wolfpack, and Content Bedtime, Illuminati Huddies.
Yes, that's it.
That
Yeah, that sounds
is
right.
a heck of a playlist. Diverse.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. I tried to just toss in things that were like, all right, how do we make this more interesting playlist too, right? And that's part of it, actually. Like, legitimately, like, yeah, it's the first thing that comes to mind and like makes the most sense to me. But we're talking about building out a playlist and like, what would that mean in the context of the flow of it and whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's always fun making
It's a
weird and
lost art.
wacky.
I keep saying it on every single episode. Making a
Yeah,
playlist, making a mixtape, making a mix CD, it is a lost
yeah,
art. And hopefully this podcast makes everybody out there go and check
yeah.
out some go and make their own playlists and go and check out maybe some playlists from Medium Baby. That'd be really cool.
Thank you. Yeah. Actually, quick question that's a little bit off topic,
Yeah, go
but
for it.
you're releasing an album soon, right?
It's going to be an EP.
An EP.
Green
Okay,
White
yeah.
Checkered is my band for anybody
Yeah.
who's asking. We have not titled it yet. I drew the album artwork and sent it to a buddy to maybe kind of digitize it and see how it looks. So we're
Yeah.
just like ironing out those details of self-releasing music that I kind of forget how to do. Like I went to
Mhm.
music school and we took classes in music business, and like beyond remembering to register songs with SOCAN, I don't, there's a lot of stuff that I was like, did I miss this class
Did I
or has it all
forget?
just
Yeah.
completely changed in the
Yeah.
10 years since I've been in music school? So, which 100% has all changed in the 10 years since I've been in music
Yeah,
school.
yeah, that makes sense.
But
Do you have fun with like was it I don't know what the word is, but like ordering the tracks?
yeah, like I guess, is it like the syncing or like
Sequencing.
yeah,
Sequencing.
sequencing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm committed to, like, numbers are such a weird thing for me. So because this project is Green White Checkered is a racing term, a lot of like motorsports things are kind of leaking their way into the project, whether my bandmates are aware or not. Like, I
Right,
drew
right.
our logo, which is a green and white checkered flag, which, if you're not familiar with motorsports, um, green and white, green, white checkered is like basically what we call an overtime finish. And different levels of racing use it. Some don't. Formula One, for example, you would never have a green, white checkered. That's just something that really doesn't happen. But in NASCAR and forms of North American motorsports, it's more common to see. But I drew the flag, a green and white checkered flag, with 24 squares in it because Jeff Gordon is my favorite driver and he drove the 24 car. I like working with 3 tracks per EP because one of the most famous NASCAR drivers, who's literally up on the wall beside me here, is the man in black, Dale Earnhardt, who drove the 3 car.
No way.
So like
Nice.
there's
Yeah, yeah.
just
True.
subtle numerology things that I keep messing with on this project, and I'm going to break it eventually. Eventually we're going to put a full-length album out. But for now I was like, it's so easy to just go into a studio, cut 3 songs
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
put them out quarterly, right? Or like bi-yearly. Like,
Yeah.
right? At this point, I feel like so many people, they're just listening to whatever they want on their favorite records anyways, and just grabbing like, oh, track 7's my favorite, so that's going to go in a playlist, or I'm going to like it on my favorite streaming playlist. And then that streaming service is going to throw it into my algorithm as much as possible for whatever reason. Right. So
yeah, there's something to be said about the digital age of consuming music, right? Where like sequencing doesn't really matter as much for a lot of people, especially for like you're saying, it's an EP type thing, 3-song EP. It's hard to like hop in and be like, oh yeah, like I'm in the moment of listening to this.
If anything,
like
I'm thinking about it from like a 7-inch single standpoint, which eventually would be the goal. Like I would love to be that band like early Misfits, where like all our music is just on 7-inch singles, and you get 3-4 songs at a time kind of thing, and that's that. And then heck, after we've got enough, if we wanted to put out a full length and it was just a compilation of all of those 7-inch singles put together, that'd be great.
Right. Yeah.
The biggest thing is like vinyl is such a, it's a gamble, right? You don't want to go and get your record pressed and then you only have like 10 people showing up to shows, because you're going to have to sit there with like 500 copies of a record, right? So all that sort of stuff, those logistics I'm still working out. And I do, off the air, I want to bug you about maybe planning a release show. So we'll get to that maybe off the air. But
Yeah.
I do have to say au revoir to our friends that are not on Patreon. Hopefully you enjoyed Kirk's playlist. It's going to be out to be a part of it. If you want to check out more of the playlist and get a little bit of insider info on his favorite, his desert island records, the records he cannot live without, you can come and join us in the Patreon. Sign up and be a part of that, and get some exclusive content from Let's Make a Playlist beyond just the art of making a playlist. I really hope everybody goes and checks out Medium Baby, not just for the shows, but for the spotlight on Niagara artists and for everything that you're doing for music here in Southern Ontario. It's appreciated by the bands, and I think the fans are going to be just as much in appreciation, and we're going to get more and more of them as we continue to do stuff like this, Kirk. So I'll give you one last opportunity here to kind of plug Medium Baby, plug yourself. Where can we find you guys? Where can we keep up with you? And you have a newsletter too, right, for Medium Baby?
I do have a newsletter. Yeah. So actually my team is the one that writes that. I scan through it, make sure that everything is copacetic, but for the most part, like first of all, I have a beautiful team surrounding me. There's about, I think it's 7 of us. I'm just pulling that off the dome. But yeah, we have people managing like the street team. So if you want to be more involved in the Niagara community, basically I have a street team. Medium Baby, so go to mediumbaby.ca. We'll start with that. Mediumbaby.ca to get fully connected with everything that we're doing. We have shows, we have our newsletter to just hear about all the new shows that are coming out, as well as a street team, which just allows you to get connected with the music scene, put up posters around town, join shows for free based off of the fact that like you put up posters, sold tickets. You could I could get you posted at like the merch table sort of thing. Just whatever you're willing to do to get involved with the music scene. We also have non-Medium Baby shows that you can come support from the street team as well, because there's so much. We have such a huge team of people that want to do stuff and not enough shows. So I'm like, fuck it. If you actually, maybe that's the other call out. If you are a promoter in the area that wants to have people put up posters, people that are at doors, whatever the hell you need, shoot us a message, Medium Baby Niagara on Instagram, or shoot us an email at mediumbaby.niagara@gmail. Or you could just go to our website and you'll find our contact details there. And we'd be happy to put your show on our platform, on whatever that looks like. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Kirk. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Let's Make a Playlist, and we'll see you at a show sometime soon.
Sounds good. Thank you, John.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Let's Make a Playlist. You heard the plug there at the end from Kirk, but go and check out Medium Baby. Check them out on social media, on their website as well. Check out all the cool shows and everything that they're doing to promote music here in Southern Ontario, in the Niagara region. Now, I've got to do my own playlist portion of the show here. So I'm ditch the Bowie hat for today, and I'm going to just dive right into the bag here and see if I can pull something. Hopefully, I don't have my list either with me. I don't have my list either, so I'm hoping I'm pulling something that's new. And I think it is. I don't think I've had this question for myself in my own playlist yet. But your favorite love song. And, what do I pick? I mean, love songs are fresh in my brain because I just got married and we did all that sort of stuff. We had to pick the music for the wedding. I think I already have Green Day on the list. So I'm going to go The Girl by City and Color, because that's the song that I proposed to my now wife, Kyra, while City and Color were playing live at Born and Raised, the first edition of Born and Raised. So, yeah, that'll be my pick for a love song. That's that playlist going to continue on throughout season number 1, and we'll have a full version of that. Don't forget to check out our Patreon. There's going to be some more stuff I'm posting up there, including links to listen to these playlists that each person is making. There are going to be exclusive links. They're going to be exclusive Spotify links. So if you have Spotify, you'll be able to click that link, check out the playlist, listen along to some of the songs, rather than having to go and listen to the episode and jot it down and build your own. You'll be able to do that. Thanks everybody for listening. Please like, rate, review wherever you check this podcast out. Engagement helps, and share it with 3 friends. If you got 3 music fan friends in your group, just say, hey, I know this guy. He's a little weird, but he does a playlist podcast. It's kind of fun. You should check it out, and let's grow this thing. And look forward to keeping season 1 rolling on. A couple more guests lined up, some still to record, some still to edit. Lots coming down the pipeline for Let's Make a Playlist. Check me out at Jonathan On Air on the socials. At Green White Checkered Band is where you can find us on social media as well for Facebook. And then I think it's just at Green White Checkered is where you'll be able to find us on Instagram, on TikTok, on Threads, all that good stuff. And appreciate you tuning in as always. Go and listen to some music, and we'll be back with another edition of Let's Make a Playlist coming up in a few weeks from now. Let's Make a Playlist is a podcast hosted and created by me, Jonathan Howe, for House Media. At Jonathan On Air is where you can find clips of the show as well as all things me, Jonathon. That's how you spell Jonathan for the record. Please rate, review, subscribe, like all episodes wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to support the show, consider joining our Patreon, patreon.com/Let's Make a Playlist. There you can find exclusive content, longer episodes, and sign up to receive our end of season zine. Don't forget to share the podcast with your friends, and we'll be back with more playlists.